Do you ever feel like despite having it all together, life is still missing something? Welcome to our channel, a place where stories inspire and life lessons come to life through the power of storytelling. Today we'll be exploring a tale about a man named David, who had everything under control except his heart. In a peaceful town nestled in Ohio, life was as predictable as the sunrise. It was here that David Miller, a 42-year-old man, found solace in the comfort of routine. Every day was marked by order. At 6:30 a.m. sharp, his alarm would chime, rousing him from sleep. His day began with a jog around the same block, followed by a drive to his office where numbers and ledgers awaited him. As an accountant, David was the epitome of responsibility. His colleagues admired him, his neighbors respected him, and his home was a testament to his disciplined life. Weekends were spent organizing, planning, and preparing for the week ahead. He was known as the go-to man, the one who never missed a deadline or a commitment. But behind closed doors, within the four walls of his small house, a different story unfolded. David wasn't just a man of routine. He was a prisoner of it. He had convinced himself that discipline and success were the ultimate measures of a man's worth. But at what cost? The small joys of life, the laughter, the connections, the warmth of human touch. All of these he had sacrificed at the altar of his rigid schedule. He had become so engrossed in the pursuit of success that he forgot to look up, to truly live. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across his neatly maintained garden, David sat down to dinner. His meal, a microwaved lasagna, sat on the table, growing cold as he mindlessly scrolled through his phone. Pictures of friends on vacations, of children at birthday parties, of families gathered around holiday tables. Each image was a tiny pinprick to his carefully constructed world. His heart ached with a loneliness he had long ignored. And in that moment, he told himself, I don't need anyone. I have everything under control. But life had a way of testing such beliefs. The very next morning, as David was out on his daily jog, he noticed a small boy by the park struggling with a broken bicycle. The boy's face was tight with frustration, his hands greasy from his attempts at fixing the chain. For a moment, David hesitated, his inner voice telling him, not my problem. I have work to do. He considered the voice, but then decided to ignore it. With a sigh, he walked over to the boy and asked, need a hand? Relief washed over the boy's face as he nodded, and together, David and the boy, whose name was Ethan, fixed the chain. As Ethan rode away, his laughter echoing in the park. Something shifted in David. Days turned into weeks, and David found himself thinking about Ethan a lot. He began to question his priorities, his perspective slowly shifting. Soon, he was attending little Emma's birthday party, helping coach a local baseball team, and even assisting Mrs. Henderson, his elderly neighbor, with her groceries. He was still the successful accountant, but now he was also known as the man with a warm smile and a helping hand. Then came the day when David truly understood the meaning of looking up. It was a snowy night in December. David was on his way home from work when he saw a woman standing by the side of the road, her car's hazard lights flashing. He pulled over and approached her. She was struggling to change a flat tire. Without hesitation, David rolled up his sleeves and joined her. They worked together, and in a few minutes, the tire was changed. The woman, Maria, thanked him profusely. But David, remembering his own experience, simply smiled and said, don't forget to look up. Months passed. The seasons changed, and one day David received a small card in the mail. It was a picture of Maria's daughter holding a crayon drawing of a superhero. The caption read, thank you, Mr. David, you're our angel. Tears welled up in David's eyes. He realized that in trying to build a life by helping others, he had unknowingly built a happy life for himself. This story teaches us a profound life lesson. Happiness is not found in the rigid structure of routine or the pursuit of material success. It is discovered in the warmth of human connection, the joy of giving, and the courage to look up and acknowledge the needs of those around us. Just like David, we often get caught up in our routines, neglecting the beauty of life and the importance of human connection. But by opening ourselves up to the possibilities of kindness and compassion, we can lead more fulfilling lives. So let us all remember to look up, to see the world around us, and to reach out a helping hand whenever we can. After all, it is in giving that we receive the greatest joy. That concludes our story for today. We hope it brought a smile to your face and a song to your heart. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to join our wonderful community. Thank you for being a part of our story. Until next time, keep looking up and embracing the magic of life. This is a story about a boy who saves his town by sharing stories. In the small town of Clearwater, nestled between rolling hills and endless highways, there stood a tiny old library that most people had forgotten. Once it had been the heart of the town, a place where children crowded after school, where neighbors exchanged stories, and where generations learned to dream. But as years passed, people stopped coming. Screens replaced books, and silence took over the dusty shelves. Only one person remained loyal, a teenage boy named Ethan. Ethan was not like the other kids in school. While most spent their evenings scrolling through their phones, he would sit quietly in the old library, talking with Mr. Williams, the 75-year-old librarian who had guarded the place for nearly half a century. Mr. Williams would tell him stories, not just about books, but about life, history, and choices. Books, he used to say, don't just hold knowledge, they hold people's dreams, struggles, and voices. And when a library dies, a part of humanity dies with it. One summer evening, the town council announced they were tearing the library down. A shopping mall was to be built in its place. No one objected, except Ethan. He knew he couldn't fight big money alone. But Mr. Williams reminded him of something powerful. Stories move hearts when facts cannot. Inspired, Ethan decided to take one last stand. He began gathering townspeople in the evenings, reading aloud the forgotten tales hidden in the library's corners. He read stories of soldiers who never gave up, immigrants who built lives from nothing, mothers who sacrificed everything, and inventors who changed the world. At first, only a handful of people came, but night after night, the crowd grew larger. Some cried, some laughed, but all listened. The library began to breathe again. For the first time in years, children ran down the aisles. Neighbors shared food, and people reconnected. Slowly, the town remembered what they had forgotten. That stories shape a community more than malls or money ever could. On the night before demolition, Ethan gathered everyone in front of the library. With trembling hands, he held up a single worn-out book that Mr. Williams had given him. Voices of the past. He read a line that silenced everyone. When a society loses its stories, it loses its soul. Then, something remarkable happened. People refused to leave. Parents brought their kids, elderly folks brought chairs, teenagers brought guitars and played music. They turned the protest into a living festival of stories. The next morning, when the demolition crew arrived, they found hundreds of townspeople surrounding the library, holding books in their hands like shields. Reporters came, cameras rolled, and the story spread across the state. Under pressure, the council was forced to step back. Donations poured in from across the country. And the library was not only saved, it was reborn. Years later, when Ethan himself became a writer, he often returned to that same library, now buzzing with life again. He would sit where Mr. Williams once sat and tell children stories of courage, kindness, and memory. And whenever anyone asked why he fought so hard for an old building of books, he simply smiled and said, "Because a community without stories is like a person without a heart." Moral true wealth is not in malls, money, or possessions. It lies in the stories, values, and connections that keep communities alive. One voice, if brave enough, can awaken an entire town.